Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and a new Pokémon Z-A video. This is going to be a big one because it's a lot of topics and important ones, like what Pokemon do you want in your team, where do you get them, and importantly, where do you get the Mega Stones to actually bring them to the Mega Evolutions. So we're going to cover all of that, and it's a lot to say, so I'm going to be quick in each section, but you should come away from this video with the information you need for these topics. We're going to start with the Mega Stones and the evolutions for that, how you get them. Then we'll jump into the Pokemon specifics, if you actually need to find the Pokemon that you're targeting. So first up, you have main story rewards. These are obvious but important to be aware of. They're a free source for this mechanic. So during the main story, Az will give you a Mega Stone for the starter that you picked, which occurs after main mission 10. When you progress the main story during mission 9 right before that, you get the first Mega Pokemon in the first place, Absol. So initially you have to be adaptable with those two. So first let's talk about Rogue Mega Evolution Stones. So I've got 3 on the map here. This is the final set that you have. They come in 3s at each major step of the story. Each time you face and defeat a Rogue Mega Evolution, you're just given its stone. So if it's a Rogue Mega that you're dealing with in the story, you know you're going to get that stone and it won't cost you anything. Here's the full list on screen for all Rogue Mega Evolution fights. So if it appears in this list, it's one you're going to get by doing the main story, and for free. So our first Mega Evolution then is Absol, but then we have our first set of 3 right after that. After that we have our next set of 3, then our next set of 3, then we have the 4th set of 3, and then the final set of 3 we just looked at a moment ago. So pause at any time during that section to see if it's there and what mission it comes from. Now we have other main sources of Mega Stones to discuss, so let's start with the stone Emporium here, which is the southern point of the city. By coming here you'll initially have evolution stones, and then we can also see fossils and amber. And at the bottom here we have a bunch of buyable Mega Evolution stones, and this list will actually grow as you progress the main story. So it'll either cost you 50k, 70k or 100k per trade, it just depends on the trade. You first get access to this after unlocking the whole Mega Evolution initially, but each time you progress the game, at a major mission step, you should get a bigger list at the Stone Emporium or at the other location for this, Mega Shard Trading. This is unlocked here at this building at the northern western point of the map near Zone 18. By heading into that building, you have these 2 traders that start offering you, in exchange for Mega Shards, Mega Stones. And as you can see, the list is certainly hefty compared to the Stone Emporium. And again, this gets updated as you're progressing the game. The cost scales and scales from 180 Mega Shards to 240 to 360 per trade, depending on the trade. My list, like the Emporium, is mostly complete. Since this list is a lot bigger than the Emporium, I'm going to look through it slowly so you can take a look if the one you're looking for is on screen right now. The only ones not here I'll mention in a moment, but I'm going to slowly scroll down so you can take a look. So that's the full list minus 2. Malamar and Pyro are missing because I haven't done like the last missions of the game currently on this save. Now there are other sources, let's talk about them. For example, the DLC purchasable, the Mega Dimension DLC for Raichu X and Y. Those are technically also options. But when it comes to the Kanto Starters, unfortunately, you might be wondering about these. That's people like Greninja here, or Chestnut, or Delphox. Unfortunately, they've decided to link these to ranked battles. So if you're after Greninja's Mega Evolution, that comes in Ranked Battles Season 1, which we can do right now. While Delphox will come in Season 2, and then Chestnut after that, it's Season 3. But what are Ranked Battles? Well, it's a special mode in which you choose to battle a team. So if you go to the menu and go to Link Battle, this is where you find Ranked Battles, which unfortunately does require the Nintendo Switch Online feature. So if you don't have that, you can't get them. Isn't that delightful? But if you do have online, of course, you can jump into it. You bring 3 Pokemon to use and then have 3 minutes to fight. There's 4 trainers fighting at the same time, and then your goal is to generate as many points as possible and have the most at the end. So, defeat trainers, but also specific actions like who claims the first item, who's the first to Mega Evolve, who didn't lose a single Pokemon, that kind of thing. And you'll increase your rank by gaining points in those battles. So the rank goes all the way from Z to A like in the story, but right now the only one you can earn through this system is Greninja's Mega Evolution. You'll be waiting for Season 2 and then 3 for Delphox and Chestnut. Personally, I really dislike they put such important rewards behind something that's not only currently impossible for everyone with Season 2 and 3, but then also you gotta have online mode. The very last thing that I need to mention is Zygarde. Obviously an important Pokemon throughout the main story, and the Mega Stone involved in this one is tied to completing the main story. So play the game, beat it, and you'll get there with this one. But now let's talk about all the Pokemon that can Mega Evolve, where you get their base form, or what you need to actually get them to evolve to the third form, so they can actually Mega Evolve. Starting with the original 3, the Kanto 3. We have Venusaur, which you can get from Side Quest 22, achieved by progressing the main story and getting a call from Mabel to go meet her at the research lab. There you can be offered one of the 3 starting options: Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, but you can only pick one. Now naturally you just level them up to evolve them, but if you do want to get them in the endgame, Area 20 will be revealed in the center at a certain point, and you can find them at the bottom left, bottom right, and top right corners of the map there. Next, let's talk about Beedrill. Beedrill can be found in Area 15, specifically in the day. Next we have a Pidgeot. You can actually just find these on rooftops in general, but you can also just go to Wild Zone 5 and get its earlier form, Pidgeotto, and they evolve it at level 18 through normal methods. Next we have the Alakazam, which is certainly awkward. It's one of the ones that evolves from trading, so you need the lower evolution, the Kadabra, and then you need to trade with a friend. So you trade a Kadabra with a friend, and then it evolves into Alakazam, which we can actually Mega Evolve. So you'll need them to trade you it straight back if you're doing that way, or maybe they just send one to you initially anyway. To get a Kadabra then you can go to Wild Zone 9 and grab them there, or go to Wild Zone 5 and grab an Abra and evolve that to a Kadabra. Then you make the trade. Next we have Slowbro, which evolves from Slowpoke at level 37. To get Slowpoke, you need to go to Wild Zone 10, or 11 also works. Pick one up, level it up. Next up we have our Mega Evolution for Gengar. Gengar's an awkward one. You can actually find a couple of them during the main mission when you're helping the Rust Syndicate, so try not to waste that opportunity. But if you get stuck, you can come to Area 15 here and pick up a Haunter instead. But you can also find them around the city at night, even down in the sewers, seen them on rooftops. Pick up a Haunter, and then it's another one that requires trading to evolve for Gengar. So again, you take the Haunter and trade it with a friend, and through the trade process it just evolves into Gengar. So again, you'll need them to trade it back to you after that, if that's how you do it. Next we have Kangaskhan, which you can find in Wild Zone 19, which is certainly, thankfully, easy. Then we have Pinsir, which you can just find in Wild Zone 13, nice and straightforward. Next we have Gyarados, you can just find one of these in Wild Zone 11, or you could evolve it from Magikarp at level 20. Next we have Aerodactyl. This one's a bit more complicated, so let's just quickly cover it. Bring yourself to the Pokemon Research Lab, and you'll find a side quest here after progressing the main story far enough. Bring yourself in here and go to the laboratory floor. There's an NPC here on your right that offers you a side quest. The side quest is restored from a fossil, and it's side mission 27. He gives you enough money to go buy a fossil from the Emporium and bring it back, and that unlocks fossil Pokemon in general. For Aerodactyl, you can bring yourself to the Stone Emporium and buy Amber, and then bring it back to this NPC once that's unlocked. And that gets you the Aerodactyl. Next we have Ampharos, which can be found in Wild Zone 16 as an alpha, which means you'll need to come in here and see if it's the alpha, and if not, teleport somewhere else and come back, and that kind of refreshes the area. You do that until the alpha spawns, and then you go for the capture. Though you could go after the earlier form and then just evolve that at level 30. Now we have a tough one, Steelix. This evolves from Onyx when traded while also holding a metal coat, so that's quite the sentence. You can get an Onyx in Wild Zone 14. That's the starting point. Now, like we said with others, you need to trade that Pokemon with a friend, but it has to be holding a specific item while you make that trade. As you probably learned by now, you can just select a Pokemon and have it hold an item. You can find it here, change held item. So your goal is to make sure it's holding the correct item when you make the trade. A Steelix requires the item Metal Coat. So the problem here to get the Metal Coat is that you need to do a side quest found right here on Blau Street, just southwest of Area 16. It hasn't spawned for me because I haven't made enough progress in the main story on this save at this exact moment. Which is hilarious because I'm almost at the end of the game, super close. It is side quest 101 though, so it's one of the last side quests. Anyway, when you defeat the trainer standing here, you get the Metal Coat item. Then you make sure that your Onyx is holding it. Then you trade someone while it's holding that item, and it will evolve into the Steelix. So why don't we double up on that awkward concept with Scyther and Scizor. You want to Mega Evolve Scizor, but to get Scizor, you're going to need a Scyther. Scyther spawns here in Area 13, but only at night as a heads up. With that, you need to trade Scyther with someone else, but that Scyther has to be holding the Metal Coat item. So in case you didn't listen to what I just said a second ago, find a Pokemon, choose to change held item like you do with a Megastone, and make sure it's holding the Metal Coat item. To get the metal coat item, you need to stand right here where there's a side quest, 101. The side quest is called Steadfast as Steel, and you can find it southwest of Wild Zone 16. It's not spawned for me because you get it basically at the end of the game. It's one of the last quests in the game. You need to defeat the trainer standing here to get the metal coat item. Then you make sure your Scyther's holding the metal coat and make a trade with a player and have them trade it back, or vice versa, whatever way you do it. Right, it gets simple again. Next up we have Heracross to Mega Evolve, so bring yourself to Wild Zone 13 and capture one. Next up we have Houndoom. You probably know about this one, but there's an alpha here in Wild Zone 6 that you can just capture, which is a nightmare scenario, but does work. Alternative to that, you can just get a Houndour, which is right here in Area 6, and evolve it at level 24. Next up we have the Mega Evolution of Tyranitar, which is a bit of an awkward one, because you need to get a Pupitar and evolve it at level 55. But to get a Pupitar, you need to evolve a Larvitar at level 30. So to get a Larvitar, you bring yourself here to Area 15, go to the rooftops, and that's where you find them. Next we have Gardevoir, which can be found in Wild Zone 20, so once you basically reach the end of the game, the center becomes Wild Zone 20, you can just pick one up. If you want to get a Mega Sableye, you just bring yourself to Wild Zone 9 and then just capture a Sableye. If you want Mawile, you can do the same thing in Wild Zone 9, just capture one here. If you want a Mega Aggron, then you're going to need to bring yourself to Wild Zone 20, which is unlocked basically at the end of the game, or evolve one of its early evolutions, which you can get in Wild Zone 14. Next up, we have Medicham. Medicham can be found in the daytime in Area 16. Next, we have Manectric, which you're going to need to progress the main story to unlock the Area Legendary Labs. That is the main mission 35, which is very near the end. I'm right before that on the save. So the Pokemon's inside there. Next we have Sharpedo, which is an alpha found here in Wild Zone 10. Keep refreshing the area if it's not the current alpha, and it will spawn. Otherwise you can get the earlier evolution in Wild Zone 10, the basic fish, and evolve that at level 30. Next we have Camerupt, which can be found as an alpha in Wild Zone 8, so go in there. If it's not in the center, leave, refresh the area, see if it's there. Otherwise you can get its earlier form in the same place, Numel in Wild Zone 8, and evolve it at level 33. Next we have Altaria, which can be found here in Wild Zone 18 in the daytime only. Next we have Banette, which only evolves from a Shuppet at level 37. So you'll need to find a Shuppet in Area 7 here, at night only, or you can bring yourself to Area 15 at night and get a higher level one. Probably worth doing. If you want Absol, super easy, just play the game, you'll do mission 9 and be given one. Next up we have the Mega Evolution for Glalie, which you can only get by evolving a Snorunt, and you get those here in Wild Zone 12, and it evolves at level 42. Moving on, if you want a Salamence, you're going to need to bring yourself to Wild Zone 18 as it is found here as an alpha, so refresh the area until it spawns, or get yourself a Shelgon and evolve it at level 50. But to do that, you'll need a Bagon, which is found here in Wild Zone 18 and will evolve at level 30. Next we have Metagross, which is an awkward one. You're going to need to find this in Lysandre Labs in its earlier form, Beldum. That will evolve at 20 to its next form, Metang, and then that evolves at level 45 to Metagross. So again, Lysandre Labs is an area that you unlock towards the end of the game during main mission, and is found in there. Moving on, we now have Lopunny. The easiest way to get this is definitely by bringing yourself to Wild Zone 18 and finding it in its alpha form. So leave the area, refresh it until it spawns. The other option is to take its earlier form, Bunari, in Wild Zone 6, and then evolve it through High Friendship. So I think the alpha farm is a lot better there. Next up we have Garchomp, which is one that you're going to have to evolve from its earlier form of Gabite and Gible. You find a Gible in Wild Zone 8. It's digging in the ground. You run around until you actually spawn a Gible instead. Then you level it up, evolving at 24 and then 48 ultimately for Garchomp. Next we have Lucario, which evolves from Riolu when you have High Friendship. To get a Riolu, you can do one of the side quests, which is found here at this academy right next to Area 3. You'll trade one Pokemon for a Riolu, so that's an easy way to do it, but you can also find Riolu on the rooftops in general in the daytime. To get friendship, just spend time with Lucario, use him in fights, have him out with you, or you could even just find one straight up in Area 20 when that exists in the center of the map. Next we have the Mega Evolution for Abomasnow. To get this one, you're going to need a Snova, which is found here in Wild Zone 12. Then level it up, it evolves at level 40. Next we have Gallade, which is an awkward one. You need a male Kalia and you need a Dawnstone. To get a Dawnstone, you can bring yourself to Wild Area 3 and get on the rooftop right here on the top left point. To get on top of the mall, you need to come to the northeastern point, at least for one method, and climb the scaffolding here. There's a ladder to the roof. So I brought myself to the corner here, the top center here. There's a bunch of Pokeballs to pick up, so pick up everything here, including the Dawnstone that we're going to need. The thing is, if we're going to get a Kalia, we're going to need a Ralts, which can be captured in this same location, on top of the dome of the mall. There's actually one right in front of me for this example, so I might as well just show you it. But again, you're going to need a male Kalia at the end, so make sure you start with a male. It evolves from Ralts at level 20. Then once you've got your male Kalia, you give it the Dawnstone, and that's what evolves it into the Glade. Next we have Aldino. You can find these in 2 places. World Zone 19 will be a higher level one than the one you can find also in Zone 7. Next we have the Mega Evolution of Dragonite. You've got 2 options here. Find a Dratini or Dragonair. They're both found on general rooftops. And if you go with a Dratini, it evolves into Dragonair at level 30. But then we can get the Dragonite from there at level 55. Next we have Victreebel. You're going to need a Weeping Bell, which can be found in the daytime only in Wild Zone 13. You're also going to need a Leaf Stone, so you can buy those from the Emporium. So when you've got your Weeping Bell, give it the Leaf Stone and you're good to go. Next we have Hawlucha, which you can just find as a rooftop type. I found mine here next to Area 3 by using this elevator and searching the rooftops above. Next we have Malamar. You'll find these just around Wild Zone 20 when that opens up, in the center once you progress the game far enough. For Greninja then, we need a Frogadier, which evolves from a Froakie. You can get a Froakie in Wild Zone 16 or one of the early side quests. I believe it's side quest 9. For a Delphox, you're going to need to get the original form, Fennekin, and evolve it to a Braixen and then Delphox. To get a Fennekin, you can bring yourself to Wild Zone 18 or do the side quest. I believe the side quest is side quest 8. Next we have Chestnut. You'll need to get a starting Pokemon for this, the Chespin. Find these in Wild Zone 17 or do the side quest number 7. Then just evolve it all the way to Chestnut. If you want a Mega Raichu, you're going to need the Mega Dimension DLC. If you want a Mega Drampa, you need to bring yourself to Wild Zone 19 day only to capture one. For Extra Drill, we're going to bring ourselves to Wild Zone 14 and just capture one. For a Mega Electros, then we're going to need to get the starting form, Tynamo, in Wild Zone 10, and then evolve it all the way to 39 for Electric. Then with Electric, we need to give it a Thunderstone, which again we can get at the Mega Emporium. For a Chandelure, we're going to need to start with Lampent that you can find in night-only Wild Zone 17. Then evolve it using a Dusk Stone. This one's a bit awkward. You bring yourself to the Stone Emporium, which after main mission 39 becomes available as a purchase. So pretty late in the game there. If you want a Mega Phalanx then, you're going to need to bring yourself to Wild Zone 16 where you can simply capture it. For a Barbaracle, you're going to need to bring yourself to Wild Zone 16 at night, and then you can capture one here too. For Skarmory, it's a bit awkward. You need to bring yourself to Wild Zone 17, and then it's affected by the weather. It needs to be sunny. For Scolipede, you need to come to Wild Zone 15, and it needs to be daytime to capture one. For a Frostlass, you're going to need a bit of an awkward one. Bring yourself to Wild Zone 12 and get yourself a Snorunt, but it needs to be a female one. Then you need to give it a Dawnstone. As I just mentioned with another Pokemon, you can bring yourself to the Stone Emporium to buy these after you basically completed the main mission of 39, finishing the game. But they can also be found in the open world, such as near Wild Zone 3, on the rooftop there are a bunch of items, including a Dawnstone at the top middle. For a Dragalga, you need to bring yourself to Wild Zone 20 and just capture one here, but there are also sewer areas around the map where they can be found too. Next we have the Mega Clefable. To get a Clefable, you'll need to go to Wild Zone 19 and find the alpha version. I think this is a good idea, because otherwise you need a Clefairy and give it a Moonstone. If you want to go that route, you can also find Clefairies here in 19, but at night specifically. For Scrafty, you bring yourself to Wild Zone 20 and just capture one, or you can find a Scraggy in the sewer regions and evolve it at level 39. For Starmie, you can bring yourself to the Wild Zone 16 at night and just capture one, or evolve it from a Staryu using a Water Stone. For Pyro, you need to bring yourself to Wild Zone 17 and simply capture one. Next we have Meganium, Feraligatr, and Emball, all found in their base versions here in Area 20 when that's unlocked, or obviously one of the starter Pokemon that you pick at the start of the game. For Mega Floette, you can find them in Wild Zone 7. And lastly, Zygarde, which is involved in completing the main story alongside its Mega Stone. So beat the game. But there you have it. That is my overview of a pretty massive topic there. I hope I gave you all the information you needed. It's a lot to cover. But if you guys have any extra advice on any of these, please let us know in the comments and maybe we'll help someone. But I hope this was helpful. Until next time, thank you for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.